Jim does have Tourette's, so please excuse any bad language or obscene gestures. YouTube, please do not take down the video.
Hi, my name's Jim.
I'm Lou.
And we are
Fields and Flocks.
Yeah.
Chickens, what?
Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. We've got lots on for you today. We have lots of hands-on work, updates, and maybe even a few surprises for you.
We'll update you on all the progress so far of the year from our previous vlogs. We will do some much needed garden maintenance, as well as there is a yearly incubation that we've got some great footage of.
So stick around to find out more. Let's get started.
Yeah. So the willow that you've seen us plant, that we planted, is starting to finally get some life, which is really exciting.
It's starting to come through, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's exciting because once they, apparently with them being biomass willow, once they start, they really take off. So it's super exciting, and it also means that we're heading on our way to, in what, 3 to 4 years' time, becoming self-sufficient in firewood and wood chips. So the daffodils have been selling well out on the front.
It's been surprising, really, weren't it? Because we were hoping that they would, but we're selling them. We didn't realise, we didn't do very good market research, but we went, after we made the sign, Lou made the sign, we went up to Tesco's and we saw that they were doing 10 for £1 and we're doing 10 for £2. So we weren't sure, but they have sold.
Well, and they're not, we got a big 20 kilo just mixed bag of daffodils, and they're really beautiful, aren't they? They're really nice. Being a big bag, I thought, oh, they're probably not going to be that much of a great range, but as long as you've got a good classic daffodil, then that's fine. But there's some really beautiful ones. They're actually a really good mix. I'm really pleased with them. So
I'll be putting shots on as we're talking now, so you can see for yourselves.
So they're a little bit, they're better than Tesco's.
Yeah.
They're better than Tesco's.
Yeah, so they're probably worth the money, and they're organic, we've not used any plant feeds, anything. So you'll notice with every shot of the daffodil, I've put an A, B or C, so you can let us know which daffodil is your favourite.
If you have enjoyed watching the video so far, please hit the like, and if you wish to continue following us on our self-sufficient journey, please also subscribe.
But they've sold. That's the thing. The eggs are selling well again. The eggs have always sold well, so we knew that.
Yeah. The only thing we found is the daffodils. They overnight we planted some in the garden that we were going to use for cutting.
Slug
but
war.
The slugs
Boom,
have.
It started already.
It started. War has begun.
Slug war.
Yeah, they're munching them overnight. So we've put a few boards down near those ones, haven't we? And are going to start going out overnight to try and scoop them up. Try and entice them into an area we can keep the numbers down, hopefully, aren't we? But so that's unfortunate, but it's not everywhere. We've dotted them around in so many places that actually some places are doing really well, others are getting attacked by slugs. So it's one of those.
Slugs. All the other seeds are growing all right, aren't they? Except
they're doing well.
We had a bit of a disaster. Dilly has managed to work out how to open her cage with her mouth, and she can't do it every time, but every so often she whips her tongue in the right place. If she opens the bottom one, she just gets out and it's not the end of the world. But when she opened the top one, she somehow got out, pulled some off, and some of the plants ended up on the floor.
A couple of trays fell on the floor, didn't they? But there's still some that have survived. I need to just pop a few more in, really, but they've not completely gone.
No, they've done all right considering they were all over the floor.
Yeah, and I think luckily they're perennials, so as long as we get a few out of them, they'll be here for a long time. So, but yeah, no, they're doing well. And so we've planted some more which haven't yet sprouted. They're in the early stages of, what's the word? The seeds start to grow.
Propagation? No, or is that for cutting?
It's cutting.
Germination.
Germination, that's it, germination. So I am just about to take you through pruning some roses. I've got my secateurs, which I have just sharpened, and I've got some loppers, both of which I've also cleaned with some rubbing alcohol, just to make sure I don't spread or transfer any diseases. Here we go. Right, there we go, guys. I've taken it down considerably this year, the rose, because it had got, I didn't really want to, when we first moved, I didn't want to cut it too hard and risk damaging it, so I gave it a light trim last year. But as you can probably see, before I cut it, it was right up in the tree canopy and you couldn't really see the roses, and they were beautiful last year. So I've taken it right down, which will hopefully bush out the plant and give a nice lot of new flowers this year. I think I'm also going to try, I don't know if it's the right time of year, but you've got, where I've cut a lot off, there's a lot of these tiny little buds on long stems, so I'm going to try and root a few, I think, see if I can get some free roses. Might not work, but worth a try, because if it does, yeah, they're really pretty pink full roses and they look beautiful in a vase, so worth a try. So I'm just going to take some more daffodil cuttings. As we previously mentioned, this was a mixed bag, 20 kilos, a range of different daffodils, and they've got some really, there's some really beautiful ones. I'm really chuffed with them, to be honest. But while I do that, I thought I would just touch a little bit more on the rose cuttings that I mentioned about earlier when I was pruning the roses. So if you like a good rose, you may be familiar that they're not necessarily the most cost-effective plant. They can be expensive to get the really nice ones. And what's great to do is to take your own cuttings to get more of that rose. Now, unlike seeds for a lot of plants, the seeds from a rose will not produce the same rose from which it has come from. You need to take cuttings. Now, you can take softwood, semi-hardwood and hardwood cuttings. Hardwood cuttings are the hardest to propagate and can take the longest. Semi-hardwood cuttings need to be taken in autumn time, later in the season. And softwood cuttings, which is the more fresher, greener growth, can be taken about now in the spring. So you'll have the little buds and the nodules appear on a stem. You cut just below the node, and you generally want each stem to be about 6 to 8 inches long. That node that you bury down in the soil will ultimately become the new root system, and in time, higher up, you should see the new leaves begin to appear. All I did with mine is I got one pot for 4 cuttings. So I put a cutting in each corner of each pot, and I put some perlite within the soil, mainly to help keep the soil aerated so the roots can permeate nice and easy without any struggle. It also helps contain the moisture levels, and I also just dipped each cutting in a rooting hormone. Now, I've never done that before, that's the first year I've done it, but I keep seeing people using a rooting hormone. Whether it makes much difference or whether it's just a bit of a thing of the moment, we will see. But I've dipped them in a rooting hormone. I found an organic one online, so we'll see if that kind of gives us a good success of propagation.
Another thing we've done this week was get some eggs in the incubator. Yes. Right guys, something that we do. Stop, pause, fuck off. Something we do here every year is hatch our own egg laying for the year on, because you always get your best, tastiest eggs in their first year of lay.
They get a new bunch of laying hens.
Yeah.
The kids love it, don't they?
And again, we have mentioned we are self-sufficient, and part of being self-sufficient is trying to get as much, or we are trying to be self-sufficient, or as self-sufficient as possible. That's the correct way to say it. And so the more we can rear for our animals. So we've got cats and dogs who obviously eat meat. We give them some fish from time to time and some chicken. And so the roosters out of these bunch will keep one and the rest will go. They're not really good enough to eat for us. Maybe some stock, but they'll mainly go to the dogs. Yeah. But so something we have to do every year here is incubate some eggs. Now, sometimes we like our the broody hens. It's the easiest if your broody hens hatch for you at the end of the day, because you don't need to have much input in the rearing of the chick. So rather than having to, they take quite a lot of time to clean and feed and heat. So they are effort. So if you can do it through broodies, but there's no guarantee. And I definitely want some new hens this year. So incubator it is.
Yeah, we don't have a really what would be a reliable good mother at the moment, do we?
Bertha's kind of stopped. She was our one, and she's kind of gone off.
She's a bit too old.
We'll give 1 or 2 eggs. I think last year I gave 4 eggs to every hen that went broody, and I'll probably do the same again this year. So, what do we do? First of all, we get this Chick Tech Hatchery Sanitizer to give everything a nice spruce. We've just got this out of storage, and I have had some birds in here. Last season I had a few, so just in that you take this bit out of the top here and you get really into it, and really you can see it just gets a build up of crap, and you don't want any of that crap in here for your new fresh birds, because their immune systems are obviously not great. So right now me and Lou are just going to clean it up, then we'll get to washing the eggs. Again, you want a warm water solution with a 1 to 100 dilution of sanitizer, hatchery sanitizer. So this egg here, it's barely, that's probably got a bit of muck, but this one here perhaps, it's barely got any muck on it, so we won't do anything to this egg. That will just be good enough to go in the incubator like that. But one of these ones over here that's got, a little bit of gunk, we'll just clean that off. And one here that's got a bit more, that one, you're going to have to scrape off the gunk and probably give it a minute soak in the warm water just to wash it off, to make sure none of the bad bacteria from like this chicken poo and that gets into the eggs, because like I said, when they're developing they're in a very sensitive, and you want to try and make it as sterile as possible.
What's the coating called that protects them on the outer layer? Is it the bloom? The bloom,
yeah.
The bloom. So you're best, if you can, aren't you, to leave, if you can leave it naturally without giving it a wash, then the bloom that is naturally formed on the outside will ultimately, help protect them.
Yeah, and if you must wash them, make sure you're using a special solution. It's not a con. It does help to protect the eggs.
Is it because if you don't use that, it removes the bloom?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that protective layer, which is naturally formed, will be taken away, so they won't have such a good chance at survival and hatching properly.
So it takes 21 days for eggs to hatch. They need to be in 37.5 degrees, and can't remember the exact humidity, but I'll put it on the screen now. And this is the humidity that they like to be at. And the last few days before the hatch, so at day 19, you put them in what's called a flock down, and you basically you put in loads of water. You shut the vents, you let it get really humid in there, and that helps them to be able to break out of the egg. Now this system here, the Brinsea Maxi 24, this does all that for you. It takes care of it all. So really, you just put the eggs in, and you set the settings up right, and in 21 days, you've got your chicks. And
you do have to top the water up though, don't you? In this system?
Yeah, you have to, as you're going along, you top the water up. And that will help keep the humidity every day, but you don't want it too high. You leave the humidity holes open, and the machine lets you know if it gets too high and you have to adjust things, put less water in, that sort of thing. Do I recommend the Brinsea Maxi? I've had no problems with it. It's a bit more expensive. They're made in the UK. They are renowned for being good worldwide. But we only had one problem in, and it was my own fault. I put the fan in upside down.
They were really helpful though, weren't
They're
they?
really helpful,
good to
yeah,
contact and get help
really
from.
great. And I had a problem with something else. Perhaps this. They were very helpful both times. They were, I can't remember what the second problem was, but both times. And they did manage to fix it remotely by telling me just what to do. In a few weeks, they'll be ready. It also auto-rotates it, this particular model. So what that means is I think it's every 90 minutes, it just rotates the egg slowly, yes, to mimic what it would happen in nature. So guys, we've said before, we are working it out as we go. You are seeing us now doing the loganberry and tackling it just as we would. We're not planning this. We thought, well, come on, we'll put the camera on and we will just crack on with trying to work out what we got to do and how we do it. So you could get a bit more of an insight into what it's like, because this is how we tackle a lot of tasks, isn't it?
Yeah, and any chance we can get to make new plants for free.
Yeah, you got to take it.
Yeah, always do that, always do that.
Right. So I need to go and get a fence post, yeah, and the whacker.
The only problem is it says you should prune them in late summer or autumn after they have fruited. Cut out the older canes at the base.
Yeah, but these are all fresh new canes.
They're all new. Tie the new canes to support, such as wires or trellises. So maybe we just whack a post in.
Well, that one's dead. Why don't we try it to this trellis here? Because those plants are dead. Rather than whacking another post in it.
That was a weed, wasn't it? Was that a weed?
That's what I mean. The only plant here is this. If
Yeah.
we get another bit of wire going across to the top, we could have maybe another one across the middle.
What, leave it here or move it, do you mean?
Leave the plant here, but just move it over and tie it up here.
Could we put some wire from here to here? Because then we could train it around the corner.
That's a good idea.
Because you could still get in this bit here and we can train it, Yeah,
do you know where any wire is?
Yeah, there was a big, on the wall there in the greenhouse is the silver wire attached to the wall. Yeah, there where your hand is.
These are just little pieces.
The behind that though, there's a loop in there.
Oh, yeah.
That'll do.
Yeah, I know what you mean. This post could go in here.
Yeah, and then you could kind of enter this bit here, but you could still get in that side. Because once everything's growing, you quickly lose space to
Well,
walk
I
around.
think, to be honest, looking at it with all the grass and stuff, we need to come in here for a proper day, don't we?
Yeah.
Because we just came in to do this thing today because we'd seen that it got so leggy. But yeah. So guys, next week you'll probably see us back in here tackling this. Hey! So we've had a couple of questions about, how do my disabilities affect us here on the smallholding? And I think I've touched before on how I can't do certain tasks, like any power tools. The vibrations send me into seizures often. But what I can do is I do use medicine to control my tics. So after I've had some medicine, and if I'm feeling good, so it definitely depends on the day and the mood, but I can do anything with regular tools. So, hitting the fence posts in, using a hammer, using an axe. Because you can feel your tics coming on and you have an element of suppression, Like, if it gets dangerous, I can just drop the axe and then I'll fall into the seizure. You know, that's kind of more how it works. But yeah, this one's for Dave Allen.
While Jim's out cutting the wood, I'm just going to take the opportunity to fill up some seed trays and get some peppers planted. I've been conscious the last 2 weeks that I've not got any peppers planted as of yet, and the weather does seem to have, overall it's warmed up a little bit. Today it's overcast, a little bit of a wind, but it's very mild. So it's that time where I need to start getting a move on, getting everything planted. I need to get some more flowers in hopefully as well, if I have time. So while Jim's cutting the wood, I can actually see him from over here, which is quite good because it means I can get a few bits done whilst just keeping my eye on him, making sure he's okay.
So yeah, just planting some seeds, guys, as Lou said. This is a very common occurrence at the moment. Yes! Oh yeah, these guys are oca. Absolutely wonderful vegetable. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this. I can actually see. It's sprouting like a potato, so they're ready to plant. Oh, I love these. Lou got me a bunch for my birthday of different varieties because we added them to the roast dinner last year. Something a bit different. They're ready about December after everything else. Yes, delicious, and I highly recommend it.
Right, so we have got, I've got some hot peppers that Jim really likes, some pointy red sweet pepper, and a long red chili pepper. I've still got some seeds from last year. Erin, no, you get all wet. You get your coat all wet. Bubba's. Good girl. Yes, we've got a few left from last year. I've got some Merch Masala. They're really good because you can kind of, the longer you leave them on the plant, the hotter that they get. So you can control the spice a little bit with those, which is nice. We've got some Trinidad perfume chili seeds, Californian Wonder. That's just a general eating pepper. And we've got some paprika peppers. They were really nice last year, weren't they?
Oh, they were lovely. And we dehydrated some, and for the first time made our own paprika, and it was so good. It made food taste. Anything that needed paprika, it added that depth of flavour. It was really good, really good.
In years to come, we'll get to the point where we can grow loads of these, so we can have them fresh, but we can also, we can also dry them and then grind them, so we haven't really got to buy our own paprika any longer.
Unusually here for sunny Wales, it's raining, so we've just finished up. Brought the camera inside where the angles aren't so good because not enough space. But we've finished up. We'll do a little shot now of everything and that we've planted today. We have so many toads and newts. So it's the common toad and the palmer newt that we get loads of here. And every time around spring you get this massive migration of all the toads that have been helping us in our slug war, but just not, there are so many toads, guys. So I'm gonna run a montage, run some music. Some of the clips are funny. Hope you enjoy it as much as we did. Yes.
They're certainly having fun.
Yeah, the toads are.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
so in our previous video, you may have spotted Lou hinting at something going on in the corner of the garden there. That's a fairly big project, isn't it?
Yeah.
And is that all you got? Yeah. She's trying to keep it too secret.
I don't know how much I can say.
Well, but in essence, we've got a big project, but we're going to film that and we're going to upload that on a Saturday when it's ready. And there's a few other projects as well we've got that we'll be uploading on a Saturday. And so how we're going to do that, sorry, my brain had a fart then. Yes. But in essence, we are going to release the vlogs on a Thursday, and then when we complete these big projects, we'll go start to finish on a big project on a Saturday. So if you see stuff being released on a Saturday and it doesn't include the word vlog, it's not going to be one of these weekly updates. It's going to be more of a
Solely focused on that project.
on that project sort of thing.
When we've watched people on YouTube previously to try and find out about how to do things or give you ideas, it's handy to have it all in one video from start to finish.
Yeah.
So we thought anything that's quite big and that people might look to for inspiration or ideas on how they could do theirs.
And we go into more detail about how we do the particulars in those sort of videos, don't we? Thanks for joining us for another week, guys, and
We'll see you in the next one.
yes. Oh,
Oh, what did you do?
Slap me balls on a fucking thing, man.
Let's get started.
Boom.
I forgot I was saying something there.
Yes, you fucking cute bastards. Yes.
You right there, Jim?
Yeah, there's loads of action on this trio.